Our top focus story is the setback to Indian Army's modernization plans. The Indian Army's frontline soldier, the infantry jawan, the man with the gun on ground who has to be alert at all times, is facing a major setback. It's bad news for him. The brand new assault rifle that he was promised will not see the light of day anytime soon. Army soldiers are saddled with a problematic Indian-built, Indian small arms system, the INSAS 5.56 rifle, for almost 2 decades. Now, soldiers were promised upgraded, more modern, lighter, better precision weapons. But 7 years after the army began a quest to replace the INSAS 5.56, the proverbial bomb has dropped. The scrapping of a 7-year effort is a stinging setback to the army's modernization plans, especially as it impacts the jawan on ground. The army's effort to buy 1.8 lakh brand new modern infantry personal weapon, the assault rifle, is now dead. The deal was worth nearly 5,000 crore rupees, making it one of the world's largest firearms deals. It's just been cancelled, leaving the frontline infantry troops in a lurch. As things stand, experts say it will take the army at least another half a decade, if not more, to shortlist and acquire crucial rifles for its infantry. The crushing weight for the most basic weapon just has increased. The army, in January, its chief General Dalbir Singh had emphasized that acquiring modern rifles is critical for the country's defense.
गन तकरीबन 28 साल पहले हमारे देश में आई थी और उसके बाद प्रोक्योरमेंट नहीं हुआ है. ये क्रिटिकल एरिया था. 814 गन्स का जो एक हमारा प्रोजेक्ट था वो क्लियर कर दिया गया है.
So the army has clearly been outgunned. Why? Joining me now is Sandeep Unnithan. Sandeep broke the story for India Today. Also with us is Shiv Arur, my colleague, and Major General Shankar Murthy, who will explain why this is such a setback. But before that, Sandeep, why was this contract cancelled?
Gaurav, I believe that the army had set impossibly high qualitative requirements, and the result was that very few vendors actually responded to this contract. The number of vendors was just 5, out of which only about 2 of these vendors had supplied weapons that were in service with their respective countries. So very clearly the army has overstated its requirements has made qualitative requirements that were almost impossible to meet. I mean, we have heard of multi-caliber rifles. They've been around for many years, but
yes,
to equip an entire army with multi-caliber rifles, it's a very precision weapon. I mean, it's a very specialist weapon. To equip an entire infantry with such specialist weapons, it's the equivalent of running a taxi service with Mercedes cars.
Okay. General, were the GSQRs, the General Staff qualitative requirements for these weapons, were they wrongly set initially? Because the entire army does not probably require a multi-caliber weapon. It does not require a multi-bore weapon or perhaps a Gatling gun. Why is it that the army asked for the moon and then got nothing?
In my opinion, the army's requirements that have been encapsulated in the qualitative requirements are just correct. Why I say it's correct is that this weapon is going to be in service for the next 15 odd years. At the time at which this was tendered, it was about 20 years ahead. So you need to have that kind of a foresight before you decide what you want. You don't want a weapon to come into service, becoming obsolete the day it is introduced into service. As far as international availability is concerned, multi-barrel weapons are available, multi-caliber weapons are available, modular weapons are available, tunable weapons are available. So there's a plethora of weapons that are available.
It's available world over. Why don't we make these weapons ourselves, Sandeep? Sandeep, we have the INSAS 5.56 in this country. developed indigenously over 2 decades ago. So why is it that we don't make this weapon ourselves? Why aren't we making the upgraded weapons ourselves?
Well, Gaurav, there are serious quality issues. We are able to design these weapons. As you know, the INSAS is a home-designed weapon, but the problem is of quality control. The INSAS has suffered from quality issues. The production has been faulty, and the problem here lies in the fact that you have these 3 agencies who are completely separated. You have the army, which requires the end user, which projects the requirement for the weapon. You have the DRDO, which designs the weapon, and you finally have the Ordnance Factory Board, which produces the weapon. So you have 3 people who are almost completely independent of each other. Nowhere in the world does this happen.
Okay.
You're talking of companies that invest a lot in making these products. Like all these capabilities are available in-house. Right. So the result is that you have a single window clearance. But
unfortunately, that's not happened in this case. General, what kind of a setback is this for that infantry Jawan on ground, that he will still perhaps be saddled with an INSAS 5.56, whether it's an oil leak or a faulty magazine, that plastic magazine that cracks, issues that we haven't been able to sort out in 2 decades. Why is it? What kind of a setback is it for him?
Before I answer this specific question, I'd like to reinforce the point that has been made by him. It is a fact that the Ordnance Factory Board has failed to deliver. They have been producing an indigenous weapon for the last 20 years.
Yes.
Surely, if you've got 20 years of experience under your belt, you should be able to match global standards now.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that has not happened. They have been getting away producing poorer equipment by the day.
And that is because of very poor quality control.
Exactly.
That is something that Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar clearly needs to address. But what is the impact on that Jawan on ground, whether it's in counter-insurgency situations in J&K in the northeast, or whether it's guarding the borders at the line of control?
The impact on the Jawan would definitely be substantial. Not only would it be substantial on the Jawan, it also has impact on our regional neighbors. For example, we have supplied weapons to Nepal. We are planning to supply weapons to certain other countries in the friendly countries in our regional neighborhood.
Yes.
They will lose confidence in our ability to produce decent weapons. As far as weapons, as far as the infantry soldier is concerned, the special forces, as you are aware, they have their weapons, so they are managing. The people who are there in insurgency areas, they have got a particular type of weapon.
In fact, they're relying more on the AK series of rifles, no longer just the AK-47. They've gone all the way up to AK-106. That's the latest that our counterinsurgency troops have got.
True.
What's the road ahead now, Sandeep?
Well, Gaurav, very clearly, a lot of time has been wasted. The army has spent almost 7 years in the hunt for a new assault rifle. They must immediately get into a joint venture with an international manufacturer. If they go through the process that they've already followed, you're going to lose another 5 or 6 years. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of time. They must actually get in touch with one of the weapon manufacturers and transfer technology and carry it out as a Make India project or whatever you want to call it.
And that's the only way ahead, General Murthy?
I'd read first that I entirely agree with that view. The point is, by cancelling this tender, what are you achieving? You're going to have new specifications and a new tender, and who are going to be the participants in the new tender? The very same people. So, what are you really achieving?
Okay, so now is the time to cut short the chase, decide on a weapon and buy this immediately, and as our guests were pointing out, immediately have transfer of technology so that the same can be manufactured in India. And what the Defence Minister clearly needs to ensure that quality control is maintained. Sandeep